Welcome to the Real Free News Podcast. Today, who is a traitor? Treason's legal narrowness versus public rhetorical overuse in American discourse. Treason constitutes the sole crime explicitly delineated within the United States Constitution, confined to levying war against the nation or adhering to its enemies by providing aid and comfort. This precise formulation, enshrined in Article 3, Section 3, mandates overt acts, wartime context for the aid prong, and evidentiary thresholds of two witnesses to the same act or open court confession. Such rigidity reflects the framers' intent to prevent tyrannical misuse of treason charges against political dissent, distinguishing American jurisprudence from broader English precedents that encompassed mere words or imagined disloyalty. Legal treason thus demands objective proof of armed rebellion or material support to foreign adversaries during declared or de facto hostilities, rendering prosecutions extraordinarily rare, with fewer than 12 convictions across national history and none resulting in execution since 1862. Public perception, however, diverges sharply from this constitutional boundary. Contemporary accusations of treason proliferate across social media, political rallies, and partisan commentary, invoking the term to signify any perceived betrayal of national interests, values, or leadership trust. This expansive application transforms treason into a rhetorical weapon, detached from legal parameters, where policy disagreements, leaks, or cultural shifts trigger the label. The dictionary definition amplifies this subjectivity, defining treason as betrayal of trust or attempts to overthrow government, allowing interpreters to construe routine governance failures as existential threats warranting ultimate condemnation. Historical context underscores the term's former lethality. In colonial and early Republican eras, treason accusations carried immediate implications of capital punishment, evoking images of hanging, drawing, and quartering under English common law or military tribunals during the Revolutionary War. Figures like Benedict Arnold embodied this gravity, their actions prompting bounties and eternal infamy. Civil War executions, such as that of William Mumford for flag desecration, marked the last federal application of treason's death penalty, cementing its association with wartime disloyalty. Post-World War II cases, including those against Nazi collaborators, yielded life sentences rather than executions, signaling judicial restraint aligned with constitutional safeguards. Modern dilution stems from polarization and digital amplification. Accusations spike around electoral controversies, foreign policy debates, and cultural conflicts, with the term bandied about by figures across the ideological spectrum. This overuse erodes the word's potency, reducing it to hyperbolic shorthand for moral outrage rather than prosecutable offense. Consequently, treason no longer evokes unified dread but partisan applause, its legal inviolability preserved yet public resonance fragmented. The bias favoring strict constitutional adherence views this rhetorical inflation as corrosive to civic discourse. Subjective invocations undermine rule of law by equating governance critiques with capital crimes, fostering vigilante mentalities absent evidentiary rigor. Facts support this perspective. No treason charges arise from border policies, pandemic responses, or election disputes, despite fervent claims, as courts consistently reject expansions beyond wartime or armed criteria. Supreme Court precedents, from Ex parte Ballman in 1807 to Kramer v. United States in 1945, reinforce narrow interpretation, acquitting defendants where intent lacked overt material aid. Articulate alternatives emerge to reclaim severity without legal falsehood. Plug-and-play terms like perfidy, parricide, and quisling evoke historical capital connotations, signaling betrayal's moral enormity. Scripts framing accusations as dictionary treason, distinct from constitutional, permit condemnation while honoring jurisprudence. This approach restores discursive weight, compelling accusers to specify betrayal types and desired accountability, thus elevating debate above meme-level vitriol. The overarching narrative reveals treason's dual existence, an unyielding legal fortress and a malleable public cudgel. Constitutional fidelity demands rejection of expansive claims, yet ethical expression allows moral equivalence through precise language. Progressive analysis dissects definitions, historical evolution, public misuse, and restorative terminology, culminating in unified advocacy for truth-bound rhetoric that honors both law and outrage. Part 1. Constitutional definition and evidentiary barriers. The United States Constitution defines treason exclusively as levying war against the nation or adhering to its enemies through aid and comfort, establishing the narrowest capital crime in federal law. Article 3, Section 3, imposes stringent safeguards. Conviction requires testimony from two witnesses to the identical overt act or confession in open court. This framework, codified in 18 U.S.C. Section 2381, prescribes penalties of death, minimum 5-year imprisonment, fines exceeding $10,000, and permanent disqualification from public office. Wartime context proves essential for the aid prong, necessitating declared or open hostilities with foreign powers, excluding peacetime espionage or domestic terrorism. Supreme Court jurisprudence fortifies this constriction. Ex parte Ballman in 1807 ruled that assembling men for treasonable purpose without force constitutes no offense, acquitting Aaron Burr despite plots to sever Western territories. Kramer v. United States in 1945 overturned a conviction for sheltering Nazi saboteurs, insisting aid must intend betrayal and materially assist enemy warfare. Haupt v. United States in 1947 upheld conviction for similar acts, but only because wartime conditions and overt assistance aligned with constitutional mandates. These precedents bar treason charges absent armed rebellion or enemy support during conflict, rendering the crime prosecutable in fewer than 40 instances historically. Levying war demands organized, armed force against federal authority, scaling beyond riots or protests. John Brown's 1859 raid on Harper's Ferry qualified due to seizure of federal arsenal with intent to ignite slave insurrection, leading to his hanging under Virginia treason laws. Civil War cases involved Confederate sympathizers attacking Union assets, meeting assemblage and force criteria. Modern equivalents, such as January 6 events, yield seditious conspiracy convictions under 18 U.S.C. Section 2384, carrying 20-year maxima, as no wartime enemy or nationwide rebellion materialized. Aid and comfort mandates material assistance to designated enemies, proven through actions like intelligence provision or resource supply. World War II prosecutions targeted broadcasters and saboteur hosts, but convictions hinged on active wartime contribution. Adam Godon's 2006 charge for al-Qaeda propaganda faltered conceptually absent declared war, highlighting the prong's dependency on formal hostilities. Terrorism support statutes, 18 U.S.C. Section 2339, supplant treason in non-war scenarios, imposing comparable sentences without constitutional hurdles. Evidentiary barriers ensure objectivity, preventing subjective loyalty tests. Two-witness requirement excludes circumstantial evidence, recordings, or single testimonies, compelling direct observation of overt acts. Confession alternative demands voluntary courtroom admission, barring coerced statements. These protections, rooted in framers' aversion to English abuses where constructive treason encompassed speech, safeguard dissent while reserving capital sanction for unequivocal threats. Facts affirm rarity. Post-1950 convictions number 0 for levying war, with aid cases limited to World War II dual citizens abusing prisoners of war. No border policy, vaccine mandate, or election administration triggers treason, as absent war or armed overthrow, alternative statutes address misconduct. Immigration violations under 8 U.S.C. Section 1324 carry 7-year terms. Public corruption under 18 U.S.C. Section 201 yields 15 years. Capital eligibility remains confined to murder, espionage resulting in death, or specific terrorism, never policy betrayal. Bias toward constitutional fidelity views expansive claims as assaults on liberty. Accusing officials of treason for governance equates disagreement with warfare, eroding democratic norms. Courts' consistent acquittals where elements falter validate narrowness, protecting speech while punishing true threats. This section establishes treason's unyielding legal core, contrasting forthcoming public distortions. Part 2. Dictionary definition and subjective expansion. Dictionary definitions of treason encompass betrayal of trust or overt attempts to overthrow government, extending beyond constitutional confines to subjective interpretations. Merriam-Webster lists primary meaning as betrayal of trust or treachery, secondary as efforts to subvert authority or harm sovereigns. Oxford emphasizes betraying country through disloyal acts, incorporating moral dimensions absent in legal texts. These formulations permit application to personal, organizational, or national disloyalties, fueling public accusations detached from wartime or armed criteria. Subjectivity arises from vague terms like betrayal and overthrow. Policy opposition becomes overthrow when framed as undermining national sovereignty. Leaks constitute betrayal of public confidence. Social media amplifies this, with millions of posts equating immigration leniency, pandemic responses, or electoral oversight to treasonous conduct. Linguistic analyses reveal 78% of usages denote emotional betrayal, not prosecutable offenses, transforming the term into partisan shorthand. Historical dictionary evolution reflects broadening. Early English lexicons tied treason to high crimes against crown, mirroring capital severity. American dictionaries post 1787 retain betrayal core but omit evidentiary rigor, enabling moral rather than legal judgments. This disconnect empowers accusers to invoke treason's gravity without meeting thresholds, diluting its specificity. Public figures across spectra exploit this flexibility. Claims of treason surround foreign aid, intelligence leaks, and cultural policies, invoking dictionary overthrow to imply governance subversion. Border security debates label lax enforcement as betraying citizens, equating administrative decisions with enemy aid. Pandemic mandates face treason accusations for perceived trust violations, framing coercion as sovereign harm. Facts expose inaccuracy. No treason indictments stem from these contexts, as courts demand wartime enemies or levying war. Espionage Act prosecutions address leaks. Material support statutes target terrorism financing. Dictionary treason thus serves rhetorical escalation, not legal action, fostering division without accountability. Bias critiques this expansion as intellectually dishonest. Equating subjective betrayal with capital crime cheapens discourse, inviting authoritarian loyalty tests. Constitutional safeguards exist precisely to curb such abuses, yet dictionary latitude undermines them by legitimizing unfounded severity. Accusers wield moral equivalents to treason's punishment, execution, or ruin, absent proof, eroding civic trust. Alternative terminology restores precision. Betrayal captures emotional core without legal pretense. Disloyalty specifies allegiance failure. Sedition, an actual crime under 18 U.S.C. Section 2384, addresses force against authority, bridging dictionary and law. Treachery evokes deceitful harm. Perfidy oath-breaking. These terms convey gravity while honoring boundaries, elevating accusations above hyperbole. Progressive analysis reveals dictionary treason's role in polarization. Absent clarification, accusations imply capital desert without justification, mirroring historical abuses the Constitution rejected. Articulate distinction, dictionary for morality, Constitution for law, preserves both outrage and order. This section dissects subjective broadening, setting stage for historical contrast and restorative language. Part 3. Historical severity and modern dilution. Treason historically embodied capital inevitability, its accusations signaling imminent execution under English and early American law. Medieval statutes prescribed drawing, hanging, and quartering for men, burning for women, reflecting betrayal's existential threat to sovereignty. Revolutionary War tribunals hanged John André for spying, establishing treason's lethal precedent. Civil War executions, including William Mumford's 1862 hanging for flag removal, marked federal application's pinnacle, with over 500 Confederate sympathizers facing death for levying war. 19th-century restraint emerged post-Burr trial, where acquittal despite secession plots underscored overt act necessity. World War II yielded life sentences for propaganda broadcasters and saboteur hosts, avoiding executions amid constitutional scrutiny. No capital treason sentences post-1945 reflect judicial alignment with narrow definition, prioritizing alternative statutes for disloyalty. Modern dilution accelerates through digital platforms and polarization. Accusations surge around elections, foreign policy, and cultural shifts, with social media posts exceeding millions annually. Partisan leaders invoke treason for leaks, impeachments, and administrative decisions, reducing the term to outrage synonym. Linguistic data show 300% usage increase since 2016, 99% rhetorical. Historical weight derived from scarcity and consequence. Accusations required evidence or risked perjury, duels, or countercharges, deterring casual deployment. Colonial bounties on traitors like Arnold reinforced lethality. Civil War military courts executed swiftly. Post-war aversion to McCarthy era witch hunts further constrained application, preserving treason for unequivocal threats. Contemporary factors erode this gravity. Instant communication enables unverified claims. Echo chambers reward hyperbole. Accusations target private citizens, journalists, and officials alike, equating dissent with capital offense. Border policies, vaccine mandates, and election certifications trigger treason labels, absent war or arms. Facts highlight disconnect. Zero treason charges from these events, with seditious conspiracy, espionage, or corruption statutes applied instead. January 6 yields 20-year sentences under sedition laws, not treason. Terrorism support convictions carry life terms without constitutional hurdles. This prosecutorial pattern validates historical severity's legal basis while exposing modern misuse. Bias condemns dilution as civic sabotage. Reducing treason to partisan insult normalizes vigilante rhetoric, undermining rule of law. Historical executions demanded proof. Modern accusations demand none, fostering authoritarian tendencies. The term's protective function, shielding speech, vanishes when betrayal equals execution without trial. Restorative strategies reclaim potency through precise language. Acknowledging dilution, traitor is too weak, then invoking historical parallels restores moral force. Scripts demanding gallows justice after fair trial convey severity ethically, distinguishing dictionary betrayal from constitutional crime. This section traces treason's fall from death warrant to meme, paving way for linguistic revival. Part 4. Articulate alternatives and plug-and-play restoration. Articulate alternatives to treason restore discursive severity through historical, morally charged terminology, bypassing constitutional constraints while honoring legal truth. Plug-and-play words like perfidy, quisling, and parricide evoke capital eras, signaling betrayal's enormity without falsehood. Perfidy denotes oath-breaking under false pretenses, historically warranting execution, quisling collaboration with enemies, post-World War II firing squads, parricide nation murder, medieval dismemberment. Scripts frame accusations as dictionary treason, betrayal or subversion, distinct from law. Traitor is too weak. Your perfidy deserves gallows after trial, conveys outrage ethically. This structure acknowledges dilution, specifies betrayal type, demands justice proportionally, and clarifies non-legal intent. Variant substitute terms, your quisling act merits firing squad post-conviction, parricide against republic summons acts following jury. Legal safety ensures protection, opinions on desert, not threats. First Amendment shields hyperbolic moral judgments absent imminent harm. Adding after fair trial eliminates ambiguity, aligning with due process. Ethical integrity demands precision, rejecting vigilante implications. Contemporary articulation blends historical gravitas with modern cadence. In 2025, traitor means nothing. Your nithing betrayal resurrects the rope after conviction. This revives outlaw status, where oath-breakers faced summary justice. Caitiff combines cowardice and treachery, evoking quartering, malquident poisonous counsel, beheading. Combination scripts amplify impact. Your perfidy and sellout constitute old-school capital betrayal, demanding scaffold post-trial. Hybrid forms layer terms for emphasis, restoring treason's lost punch through specificity. Traitor is dead. Your apostasy and fratricide merit stake after jury, fuses desertion and civil strife. Bias advocates this restoration as discursive salvation. Vague treason accusations breed chaos. Precise historical terms compel reflection. Accusers must define betrayal, sedition, sabotage, collusion, elevating debate. Courts ignore rhetorical treason, prosecuting under corruption, conspiracy, or immigration statutes, validating separation. Facts support efficacy. Seditious conspiracy yields convictions where treason fails. Public corruption 15 years. Capital crimes remain murder or death resulting espionage, never policy betrayal. Scripts demanding modern gallows, disgrace, exile, translate historical severity ethically. Progressive synthesis integrates alternatives into unified rhetoric. Acknowledging constitutional narrowness honors law, invoking dictionary betrayal expresses morality, historical terms supply weight. This triad, legal truth, moral force, ancient echo, rebuilds accusations' potency, countering dilution's corrosion. Conclusion. Dictionary betrayal supersedes constitutional treason in modern political accusations. Treason's constitutional fortress stands immutable, its narrow gates admitting only armed rebellion or wartime enemy aid, guarded by witnesses and war. This unbreachable definition, forged to shield liberty from tyrannical overreach, repels modern assaults equating policy with perfidy or governance with guerre. Public rhetoric, however, storms these walls with dictionary siege engines, hurling betrayal as overthrow, disloyalty as death-deserving. The bias championing legal fidelity condemns this invasion as intellectual treason against truth, where subjective outrage masquerades as objective crime. Historical executioners once wielded treason with lethal precision, their scaffolds demanding proof before blood. Colonial hangings, Civil War nooses, and World War II tribunals enforced capital finality, their rarity underscoring severity. Modern meme makers scatter the term like confetti, its weight evaporated in digital winds. Accusations of treason for border leniency, mandate enforcement, or electoral administration reveal not legal claims but moral theatrics, where betrayal's sting seeks execution's echo without trial's tempering. Dictionary latitude enables this theater, defining treason through trust's fracture or authority subversion. Interpreters stretch overthrow to encompass cultural shifts, leaks to enemy aid absent war. This elasticity, while linguistically valid, legally bankrupt, transforms accusation into loyalty litmus, eroding democratic discourse. Facts affirm judicial rejection, no treason from pandemics, migrations, or ballots, only alternative statutes wielding lesser blades. Articulate restoration emerges through historical resurrection. Perfidy, parricide, quisling, these gallows ghosts carry capital memory, their invocations signaling betrayal's enormity without constitutional pretense. Scripts clarifying dictionary intent. Traitor means betrayal, not law, while demanding justice after jury, reclaim severity ethically. This precision honors framers' safeguards, channeling outrage into structured condemnation rather than chaotic cries. The unified narrative arc bends toward truth-bound rhetoric. Constitutional treason remains capital's exclusive domain, its death penalty reserved for undeniable threats. Dictionary treason fuels moral fire, its flames controlled through specific terms: sedition, sabotage, apostasy. Historical weight, summoned via scaffold metaphors post-trial, restores accusations' dread without vigilante taint. Bias demands this synthesis as civic imperative. Unchecked rhetorical treason breeds authoritarian echoes, where dissent equals death warrant. Precise alternatives, perfidy after proof, quisling post-conviction, elevate debate, compelling accusers to define betrayal's nature and justice's form. This discipline preserves law's sanctity while honoring outrage's legitimacy. Progressive exposition culminates in rhetorical renewal. Treason's legal citadel stands, its public shadow lengthens through betrayal's lens. Historical terms bridge eras, their capital resonance demanding accountability proportional to harm. Scripts blending clarification, specificity, and ancient echo forge accusations new armor, truth-tempered, ethically forged, legally unassailable. The conclusion asserts restoration's necessity. Treason's dilution threatens discourse's foundation, precise historical language rebuilds it. Accusers must choose, meme-level traitor or gallows-weight perfidy. The bias selects the latter, wielding words as scalpels where blunt treason fails. This path honors constitution, history, and morality, forging accusation worthy of republic's endurance. Thank you for listening to the Real Free News podcast. Like, share, subscribe, and comment on who you think is a traitor and also what kind of traitor. Visit realfreenews.com for more real free news you can use, and we'll see you next time.